And welcome everyone to another episode of the FTW Podcast, the wrestling world in all of its laughable glory. This is episode 122 coming to you live on July 10th, 2012. With me, as usual, is Joe. Say hello, Joe.
What is up?
Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Where's the studio you referred to? I want one.
You are not invited to the studio, sir. Lee. Say hello, Lee.
Fuck you
I
too,
am sexy, and I know it.
And I'm Garvin. I am manning the boards. I'm in the live chat. On tonight's show, we're going to discuss Destination X and take a look at Money in the Bank. Plus, my God, what the hell happened on Raw? If you're new to the show, check out ftwpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in all the upcoming shows. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, text message, and email. All those links and information is listed there. So just go to ftwpodcast.com. Alright, to start off the show, we're going to go back to episode 121. We got a comment from R. Kleinfall on YouTube. He brought up the idea last show about how he thought it would be cool if Stone Cold came back specifically to face The Undertaker. And we kind of poo-pooed the idea. But he followed up because I guess apparently we weren't clear on what he was saying. He said, hey guys, my comment from last week about Stone Cold and The Undertaker at WrestleMania was that The Undertaker would beat Stone Cold, not the other way around. You guys made it seem like I wanted Stone Cold to end the Taker streak, and I wanted to clarify that I don't want the streak to end.
Okay. I let me say this. We'll tell you what you're saying. Our Kleinfall, we will tell you that you want it broken. That's just... No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, yeah, you're right. We did take that spin on it. We probably read it wrong. But either way, I don't want to see Stone Cold's face Taker at Mania now.
I don't know how that makes it better. Like, hey, let's bring Stone Cold back just to lose to The Undertaker. It's as if we're turning The Undertaker and, hey, let's see what old guy we can bring back just to lose.
Right.
I mean, first you had HBK, then you had Triple H. He's talking about Stone Cold. Others have brought about The Rock coming back just to face Taker. If no one's going to bring the streak, don't waste the opportunity like a Stone Cold against Taker. I mean, he's already going to be putting on a show and bringing people to watch. Why not bring a Stone Cold back to, put on a show somewhere else on the card? It just doesn't make sense in this situation. So, anyway.
And when you talk about the rivalry between Stone Cold and Undertaker, these guys have fought just about every kind of match imaginable. They even went and fought the Buried Alive match. Where do you go? There's too much history to really make a WrestleMania match feasible between these two, no matter who wins. Not to mention the fact that Stone Cold's injuries pretty much rule out any return to the ring.
Hey, Rob, I've got to figure it out. Stone Cold versus Undertaker, winner gets knee surgery paid for.
Yeah, there we go, Joe. That's a great match.
The chat is bringing up...
Winner gets their knees repaired.
The chat is bringing up Razor Ramon. Could bring him back.
No, let's not, because
No.
I don't know. I mean, if you're going to do that, you might as well have him fight like Doink. I don't know. You got to get two guys in a rehab match, yeah. And people are saying that the Doink we saw last week was actually Brooklyn Brawler.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, is he still around?
Yeah, and last I heard, he lives about a mile from me.
Nice. So there you have it. The Brooklyn Brawler has moved to Detroit.
Yep.
All right, so R. Kleinfall, thank you again for the message. Sorry we quote-unquote got it wrong the first time, but it still sucks. So let's move on to Impact Wrestling. Rob, take us away. What happened on Impact? Just run run with it.
Well, we covered a lot of stuff in our Destination X special.
But for those who didn't listen, go ahead. Just rehash. You got time.
Well, one of the things that we discussed on Thursday during the Destination X special was that TNA was building up two things on its go-home show. The first was Destination X, obviously, but they spent a lot of portion of their time to building up next week's Impact, which seemed odd at the time, but looking back, I think they kind of did well on both sides. I mean, for one thing, it seems one of the things that we covered is that it seems like Bully Ray is actually on Twitter now. God help us all. They booked Bully Ray versus Joseph Park for next week's Impact. This was one of the things that they really pushed, as well as a Knockouts title match, Brooke Tessmacher versus Gail Kim.
Because we need to see that one again.
They also explained that the Bound for Glory series tournament took precedence over the TV title, which is why we haven't seen Devon fighting too much lately. Madison Rayne in probably the big down moment of the night, Madison Rayne revealed that her crush was Earl Hebner, which Lee called, and congrats to him for that. We had Chris Sabin talking about his retirement, and Rude interrupted him and got some quick heel heat. Then we got into some of the X Division qualifying matches. We had Flip Casanova, who I was a big fan of, defeat Dakota Darso and probably broke his nose while doing so.
Yeah, that was pretty bloody. I was like, wait a minute, I got to go back. Where did the blood come from? Because I'm like watching. I'm like, okay. I'm doing the middle of doing something else to look up. Pin. Okay, cool. Wait, nope. Blood. Yeah. Where? What?
Yeah, I mean, with that match, at first I thought that Taz and Tenay were overselling it, and then we got that close up, and you could see how bad his nose was bleeding. And I'm like, yeah, he probably did break his nose.
And that was one of the things that we talked about on the Destination X show, which is, guys like Flip Casanova and Dakota Darso. I mean, they looked green. They looked like they were in awe of being in that live show spotlight, and it showed. There were a few botches, but overall, I mean, everyone that came in, especially Flip and Dakota, they did look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, and Dakota Darso is a second-generation athlete, and he got big he really impressed me by continuing the match after a broken nose. I mean, it's got to be hard to breathe once that happens, and not only did he manage to continue the match, he managed to continue an X Division style match. So that actually impressed me about him. We had a tag team match, Gail Kim and Madison Rayne versus Brooke Tessmacher and Tara. Pretty good match. Let's see, what else do we have? And then we had Gail Kim. They pushed AJ Styles versus Daniels and Chris Daniels in a last man standing match, which was awesome, but we'll get to that in a moment.
So Rob, the Hulk Hogan getting the dead man's hand delivered to him.
Yes.
What do you think of that segment?
It could have been better done. I mean,
what do you think they're pushing though?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, and the main problem I have with that segment is it's almost like I could walk backstage of TNA and barge into Hulk Hogan's office when we both know there's no way in hell I'd get anywhere near Hogan's office.
Yeah. You don't even have to run very fast either.
Yeah, right.
The only thing that stood out to me was, he said, we're not cowards, and if you can remember back, Sting was attacked by those three masked guys. Hogan came on the next week and said that they were cowards for attacking Sting from behind. So it's possible that they are going to bring that back. I know there was some rumors that they actually didn't know what they were going to do with that segment. As far as who was the people behind the attack on Sting, they just knew they had to get Sting off TV for a while.
But the problem is, but the problem with that segment is when you barge into Hogan's office, you hand him a piece of paper with some cards and a little note saying that we aren't cowards, and then you run away. What are you?
The messenger.
Yeah, it does tie into one of the issues with TNA, and it has been for the last year and a half or so, is consistency. They don't always drive what is going on at all times. So there was a huge gap. I'm just trying to connect pieces. It looks like that could be possibly the people behind Sting, but who knows? Who knows what's actually behind, because they didn't specify.
Right, and I think the problem, and I think one of the reasons TNA has a problem with this kind of thing is that they're trying so hard not to reveal too much too quickly, but in meeting that goal, they're not revealing enough. So rather than hooking the audience is just kind of left going, what the fuck? And that can be good. I mean, TNA has made it work from time to time, but almost an equal amount of time it's failed and blown up in TNA's face, and they've had to change the storyline because they couldn't get people hooked into the storyline quick enough.
True. All right, so also on the show we saw another X Division qualifier. It was Kenny King versus Lars Only. Lee, you were raving about Kenny King on Twitter.
Yes, I was. I really liked what happened on Impact. It was, I don't know, there was something about his match. It just seemed like he was involved with the crowd. He had the ring awareness. They had people backing him. It was, the X Division qualifier that really, really stood out to me. And I think he's got a future in TNA. I don't care if he didn't win, because they can really, really build on that guy. Really build.
I totally agree. Out of all the X Division qualifiers, outside of a Sanjay Dutt, Kenny King looked fantastic. Like, he looked like he was going from, he came from Ring of Honor. There was no skipping to the beat. He was ready to go, and it seemed like he just fit right in.
Yeah,
that's because he's worked for TNA before. He's got an idea of their production, like how their production works.
Has he been with TNA before?
Oh yeah, he fought Jay Lethal over SoCal Val when they were doing the Macho Man Miss Elizabeth kind of gimmick.
That was Sanjay Dutt, not Kenny King.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I brain farted. I'm sorry. You had just mentioned Sanjay.
I did mention Sanjay Dutt.
Okay.
That's where I picked up from.
Okay. Yeah.
Dirt.
Kenny King, out of all of the rookies, he was by far the most polished. Probably because he's been with Ring of Honor. He's been with one of the bigger independent feds. A fed that's established itself. It's got a training and development protocol in place. And he looked really polished. He definitely impressed me a lot. And put on a good match. I mean, him and Lars Only had some really good stuff going on. And after the match was over, Kenny King was able to transition from ring work to mic and deliver a pretty good promo right off the bat, which impressed me, because it was something that a lot of the other rookies in the X Division match really weren't able to do. They really weren't able to give a good promo after the match.
Right. All right. Well, I'm sorry. The final match of the night, Jeff Hardy versus James Storm. Are you surprised with how that match ended? That James Storm didn't win?
I am, actually. I don't know. Why TNA? Why do you have to keep pushing Jeff Hardy? Please, just make him go away.
I don't think it was to do with Jeff Hardy. I actually think it was just because Storm was clearing away at the top, and they just wanted to make you think, oh, but now here comes Jeff Hardy. It's just keeping
Exactly.
keep things mixed up a little bit.
So what
Yeah,
you're saying is they
Lee's
saw
got
the
it.
mistakes we made with the FTW draft and aren't going to just let Mike run away with it. They're going to stop him.
By the way, I don't want to refer to any predictions that we made on that Destination X show. Just
No, but I think that they need to slow down Storm's points. They need other guys to catch up. Otherwise, it's just a runaway. It's a given. We don't want that.
Yeah.
although I still want James Tom to win. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, at this point I don't. Only because we want to see Storm Rude. We don't. I mean, unless Storm or Rude picks up the title again, he gets it back before Bound for Glory.
Spoilers. We're not there yet. Let's move on. Destination X.
Sorry.
We're not there
happened.
yet. We're
It happened
going
on
there.
Sunday. We normally would talk about SmackDown here, but we're going to talk about Destination X. Another fantastic pay-per-view by TNA. They keep hitting home runs with their last three pay-per-views for sure. So let's just run down the card real quickly. We had the X Division semifinal matches. I think there were 2 of them, 3 of them. I can't recall. 4. Okay. So those 4 of those plus the championship match. Then we also saw Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles, Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe, and Bobby Roode versus Austin Aries. In predictions, I did not count these up, but I want to say Harrison won.
Harrison. Yeah, it looks like Harrison did.
Looks like Harrison won. Let's move on. All right. X Division semifinals. We saw obviously Zema Ion got pushed forward. Sanjay Dutt got pushed forward. Actually, let's skip that. Let's talk about Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles. Last man standing match. Rob, what were your thoughts on this match?
Actually, before we get to Last Man Standing, I want to say one thing really quickly about the X Division semifinals. We all talked about how green a lot of these rookies were. TNA took a huge risk in that the first almost half of their pay-per-view was matches with all of these green rookies. And TNA knocked it out of the fucking park. I mean, the crowd was involved and cheering for every match. They really got behind a lot of these new guys. I mean, Rashad Cameron, Rubix, a lot of these new guys got the crowd way on their side. And I thought that was fucking phenomenal. It was one of those things that is genius if you make it work and horrible if you make it if it doesn't work. And TNA took a big gamble and it paid off in spades for them.
I'm going to say one thing real quickly about it. The X Division qualifiers, to me, they're all a bit samey. I'm going to disagree a bit because we had the same spot going to the outside. We had, I'm not blaming them because they are pretty green, but we had spots where they just looked like it was a bit of a mess at times. It was a massive gamble, and to be honest, I'd say 2 out of the 4 matches were good enough, but for me, it looked a bit similar. It looked a bit too like they'd just been booked in literally the same match over and over and over again with just like little changes here and there.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can agree with that. A lot of the matches were very similar, and that probably was tied to the idea that they're all kind of new. You didn't want to take too many risks, but at the same time, I mean, they all were pretty solid. There was no huge mistake where oh well that was a botch kind of thing. Like you didn't really see that kind of commentary on the internet like you normally do.
It was a massive improvement over the over the Impact. The Impact matches were good, but it was a massive improvement. It was like a step up as such. It did work. There's no as you said, the crowd got behind it like mad. So that in the end, I suppose that's all that really counts.
And I've got to say too that I was surprised when Jesse Sorensen came out. I was surprised that he looks to be in as good a shape as he does, given the injury that he took. And I really enjoyed the fact that TNA seems to be picking up the Sorensen-Ion feud.
That's one hell of a fun one.
I'm really excited to see that when Sorensen's able to come back, that they're going to pick up that. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that was definitely something that I was hoping for when the injury happened. I was definitely hoping that they would push that, and it looked like they were going to go in that direction, and then we never saw Sorensen again. But yeah, that was a great surprise.
Yeah.
It was a ballsy surprise as well, considering we're on pay-per-view here and it was unannounced, and we had like 8 or 9 matches to get through. They could have easily have cut that segment out and saved it for Impact.
Yeah. Speaking of that segment, Jesse Sorensen made a very bold prediction, and he said by this time next year at Destination X, he not only was going to take the title off of Zema Ion, but he was going to use that to cash in to face the world champion at Destination X 2013. Do you think that was too ballsy?
Normally I would say yes, but it looks like from everything I saw, from what little I could see in that segment, it looks like he's recovering a lot quicker than predicted. So it's not completely unreasonable. And as soon as he comes back, I expect that he will get a massive push from TNA just because he was severely injured and is returning to work. And not to mention that before he was injured, Sorensen was one of the top guys in the X division. I mean, the guy had a lot of talent. So I wouldn't be surprised if TNA decided to say, yeah, okay, we're going to give you a push. We're going to see what you can do as one of the top guys. It would be
a fantastic story.
Yeah, that's the big point, a big story. But I think it goes back to what we just said about continuity. TNA, will they recognise that it would be a great story, and will they go back to this point, this time next year?
I have to see.
All right. Well, outside of the X Division semifinals, before we get into the Ultimate X match, since that happened later on in the show, let's talk about this Last Man Standing match. Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles. Rob, what did you think about this match?
I think that TNA put the balls back into the Last Man Standing match that the WWE had cut off. I said before the event that Last Man Standing was actually one of the more dangerous matches for a wrestler to take. That, that Last Man Standing was always designed to be a dangerous match, a career-shortening match. The WWE has kind of made it PG and kind of toned it down a lot. TNA said, no, fuck that. We're going to show you what a Last Man Standing match should be. Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles beat the goddamn piss out of each other. And it was one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that Daniels was hitting AJ Styles pretty stiffly with those punches once he opened them up, just to get the blood running, and they did that back and forth throughout the rest of the match. So they were definitely trying to play up that blood, and it told a great story.
And not only that, they really did a good job of selling the feud in that there were a few times where, like you said, like the punches got stiffer. There were quite a few times in the match where it was almost impossible to tell if there was any holding back. It looked like two guys in a fight. It looked like what pro wrestling should be. It looked like two guys in a fight, beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah. The only downfall I had on that match was Kaz's interference, because it was pointless. Like, he came out and he pushed AJ Styles, and then that was like it. Then he argued with the ref and nothing.
And then AJ Styles throws him, and Kaz just lays down and dies. It's like, seriously, if you're going to have interference, then if they were going to have Kaz interfere, they should have either had somebody come out to help AJ Styles, like have Kurt Angle or somebody come out to fight Kaz and push Kaz off, or do something else. To have Kaz do one move and then get taken out by one move from AJ Styles really kind of dragged the match down a little bit. But AJ Styles hitting the Styles Clash off the stage into the wooden table kind of made up for it.
From the live chat, Diva Jill, she said, that is exactly what you want to see in a last man standing match, two guys in a fight. And yeah, it was basically a perfect match, a perfect last man standing match. One thing that was pointed out to us on Twitter, also DJ Clean Styles on YouTube also sent us a message about it. He said, the note was basically that AJ and Christopher Daniels, both of them, are in the Bound for Glory series, and people were confused of why this match wasn't going to those points. So during the pre-show, I was trying to do some research on see if anything was released by TNA. I couldn't find anything, but when I was on the BFG series page, I noted what types of matches or wins gains you points. Submission victory, pinfall victory, countout victory, DQ victory, draw. There is nothing about any other kind of specialty match. Ladder matches wouldn't count towards it.
Right.
Tables matches wouldn't count towards it. Last man. So that's kind of strange. It's weird that they didn't include that because obviously that would have been great if this match also went towards the BFG series.
Yeah, it would have, but at the same point in time, it would have destroyed the match because if this was a BFG series match, then you're limiting the match to 15 minutes. And last man standing match, you really can't have a great last man standing match in only 15 minutes. So I personally,
yeah. There's
I personally like the fact that they said, okay, you know what, this is a personal feud. We're going to throw out the BFG series for this match, and we're just going to let these guys beat the hell out of each other.
All right. Well, speaking of the BFG series, we also saw Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. We pretty much unanimously said Samoa Joe was going to win. He did. Do you think they made the right call by doing that?
Yeah, I did. Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe had a hell of a match. They had a much better match than most people probably would think you could have in 15 minutes. It was a back and forth match, and Kurt Angle did a great job of helping to push Samoa Joe back into the spotlight and help sell him as a legitimate threat. And Samoa Joe picked up the 10 points by beating him by submission. So it was a great match all the way around, especially with the fact that Kurt Angle sold Samoa Joe's submission hold by basically passing out and refusing to tap out.
Yeah.
So you've got a way to continue this feud now because Kurt Angle was arguing that he never tapped out.
Would you go as far as saying that this was the match of the night?
No. When you have on any other pay-per-view, it probably would have been. But when you're comparing it to AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels and Bobby Roode versus Austin Aries, no, it wasn't the match of the night, but close second.
Okay, just because going in on Thursday during the pre-show or the pay-per-view special, we had all talked that this was probably going to be the match of the night. Another thing that we talked about then was I think I was the one that brought it up. My reasoning why Angle was going to lose that match, and it was because he just started talking about retirement, and when you see older guys get into that mode, they start putting over the younger talent like a Samoa Joe, and he put him over like hugely.
Oh yeah. I like I said, Kurt Angle did a great job of selling Samoa Joe as, a legitimate threat. And given what TNA's done with Samoa Joe recently, Samoa Joe really liked that. And I liked Samoa Joe's pre-match promo, where he kind of played into how he got screwed over in the last tournament. And it's like, well, last tournament I just decided I was going to injure everybody. This tournament I'm like, I've seen the light and I see what an opportunity this is for me, so I'm just going to win the whole damn thing. I really like the way Samoa Joe took the promo and kind of used what happened to him to his advantage.
Sure. Up next, the Ultimate X match. This is for the X Division Championship. Zema Ion won. Was that out of left field for anyone else besides me?
No, I picked Zema Ion to win the...
Well, besides you and Harrison, come on.
Yeah, honestly, I thought they were going to give it to Sanjay Dutt, especially since I'd done some research after our pay-per-view special, and they mentioned it during Destination X. They mentioned how big Sanjay Dutt had been helping get Ring to King over in India up and running. I thought when they mentioned that, as well as the fact that Sanjay Dutt had never held the X Division title, I thought they were going to give it to him, kind of reward him for all of his work. But apparently not.
Yeah, that's who I picked. Also, we should note Sanjay Dutt did get injured. I think they were reporting a separated shoulder. Lee, do you know if that progressed any, if they updated that?
Well, he said himself he was fine, and he was absolutely fine, he was all right. But TNA Dixie Carter just literally said he's going to be several weeks out. So God knows which one. Well, word straight from his mouth said he's absolutely fine, but I think it looked bad. And apparently Al Snow as well tweeted saying he actually popped his shoulder in and out twice backstage when he went back. So there's something up there. So I'm going to guess he'll be out for a few weeks, but I would guess he'll be back.
Yeah, and once he is back, for sure he should be in that title race. He looked fantastic this entire.
It's a shame he got injured actually, because the match, this is a real bad thing to say, but you're expecting a bit more from that style of match, from what we've seen in the future. But I think that injury may have knocked off some kind of stunt they were going to do or something. But it looked a bit short and a bit, I don't know, just not a mess, but not pulled together.
Sure. All right. Last but not least, the main event: Robert Roode versus Austin Aries. Lee and myself, we thought for sure Robert Roode was going to walk out. Everyone else was saying Austin Aries. This by far was the one match that we debated for the longest. Because you could go either way. Even in the post-show, once we're off the air during the pay-per-view special, we were still talking about this match. You could go either way. Obviously, Roode versus Storm was the big picture item that I was keen in on. Rob, I think it might have been you brought up the idea that he basically cashed in the X Division Championship, and it would suck if he didn't if he didn't win, like a Money in the Bank type situation.
That was how I ended the debate with Lee, because
I
made that point and Lee's just like I made that point and Lee's just like, fuck, that's a good point.
Yeah. I literally was just scanning my brain. I was thinking, if this doesn't work, they're going to look so daft. What the fuck can I say to that? This is just stupid. I can't let an American win. No, come on, Lee, come on, think. Nope, nothing going on.
I can't let an American win.
So Robert on our Facebook, I think, says the best. He says, Austin Aries is your new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Destination X was the best TNA pay-per-view of the summer. Finally, TNA had to pull the trigger, and they made the right decision. You guys agree with that?
I do. I mean, we've talked for almost the entire year that Austin Aries has been in TNA. We've talked about how he's one of the top guys in TNA, about how great this guy is at all aspects of the game, whether it's mic work, whether it's charisma, getting the crowd behind you or getting the crowd to hate you, whether it's selling, putting guys over, in ring work, every aspect there is, Austin Aries is phenomenal at. And I've got no problem at all with them finally rewarding that that work and recognizing him, and it sells the gimmick. Now, TNA has established the precedent that if you cash in the X Division Championship, you could win the World Championship.
Yeah, for sure. I think that they made the right call here. Obviously, I think Storm versus Rude would be the better story in the long run. That's what is being discussed in the live chat as well. But overall, the instant satisfaction of seeing Austin Aries as your world champion, that's above all else, I think. I mean, it was just a fantastic moment, and it definitely, like Robert said, they pulled the trigger and they made the right decision.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
The one thing I do see about that stipulation you're talking about, the X Division title going to being able to be cashed in, that makes that few months leading up to Destination X so crucial for the X Division.
Right.
It's like they're going to crank it up to 11 just so they can keep going and try and crank it up to 12. I mean, it's going to be exciting for next year.
Yeah, let's hope, because that's the one thing that we've been pushing for so long, is that they need to make the X Division like their big, division, their big thing, and they haven't for so long. Now, like you said, leading up to Destination X is their opportunity, and I think they got to take that.
And to me, that's why this was such a great move. I mean, with one match, TNA increased the prestige and the credibility of two titles. Both, I think this helped the World Division, the World title out a lot, and it gave the X Division title a huge boost in prestige.
I'm just trying to read through the live chat. I mean, everyone was super hyped after this event. I mean, that was by far, like, you look at Slammiversary, Sacrifice, Destination X, that is the trifecta so far this year of pay-per-views.
And it was such a great match. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I was grabbing my hair like, oh, Rude's going to win again, son of a... Oh, he could... I mean, it was one of those few matches that had me on the edge of my seat. I mean, I was going back and forth. I mean, and it was... And I'll call it the match of the night for that reason, because I was on the edge of my seat. I was involved with that match. I was going back and forth with, like, every big move that was landed. And the crowd in Orlando seemed to be the same way. I
have to say very quickly that when Rude got the title and knocked out Aries, and the referee was down and Rude went for the pin, you started to get the feeling this is Aries' night. It's not going to be Rude, because you just sensed it. You could see it, and when he didn't hit that first brainbuster either, there was just I said it on the Twitter feed. It's like you can tell this is his night. The crowd, everything about it.
Yeah.
You said it on the Twitter feed?
The Twitter feed, thank you very much.
All right, well, look, guys, we've been on for about 45 minutes, and we've just talked nothing but positive stuff about TNA. So I think it's time to get back down to reality. And
do we have to?
I know it's kind of painful, but Joe really hasn't said anything all show. So, Joe, take us through SmackDown.
Fuck the WWE. Let's go to Raw. No, WWE is just putting on some bad shows this week. This period between our shows, I should say. Great Khali and Layla beats Antonio Cesaro and Aksana in just a snooze of a match. I mean, as soon as you hear the Great Khali, what do you... I mean...
I look to start dancing to the music.
What is he going? Is he there? Is he going to win the match? Then give Vince McMahon that proctology exam that they've been airing on USA. Okay. Anyway, nobody apparently saw that commercial.
No.
Nope.
No. Okay. WWE's been airing these commercials because Raw's going to 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
So Vince says, "Oh, we're going to tell everybody we're going to 3 hours on Raw, or Raw's something like, some phrase, and it ends up being like
Triple H.
a bad game of telephone. Triple H comes in at the end of the commercial and says, "Hey, Vince, I got great Khali for your proctology exam." And it's supposed to sound like the phrase that he had said. It's really bad. But, they had a couple of Money in the Bank qualifiers on SmackDown. Cody Rhodes beating Christian. Decent match. Glad to see Cody Rhodes get in. He was probably the star of the show because he had the only real decent match on the show. Dolph Ziggler beat Alex Riley. Are we surprised? I didn't think so. In the first of two bad gimmick matches, Santino Marella, Sergeant Slaughter, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan beat Hunico, Camacho, and Drew McIntyre in the USA versus everybody else match.
Okay. Wait a minute. Santino Marella, who is in fact Italian.
I know.
Canadian. USA?
Italian for sake of kayfabe.
Yes, for kayfabe.
But he's the U.S. champion. So apparently that's like a free green card.
Okay.
So, Sergeant Slaughter and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Patriot. Whoa,
Sergeant Slaughter and Jim Duggan, I understand. It's Santino Marella, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. But Ryback finally got a real opponent, and he fought Kurt Hawkins in a quick match. At least he fought somebody who is semi-legitimate. And I'm sorry to say that about Kurt Hawkins. I like Kurt Hawkins. But they haven't given Kurt Hawkins a win in I don't know how long on SmackDown or Raw. And then they did the Great American Bash Battle Royal. And the winner gets to be the GM of SmackDown next week, and that would be Zack Ryder.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because we didn't have enough gimmicky crap in the WWE already. Love you, Zack. You're great. But, really?
Really?
It was a nice push for him. I mean, because he's been kind of stagnant for so long.
Being the GM of a show is not a push.
Well,
how does that push a wrestler?
Okay, not so much as in winning matches, but in the sense of being on TV and doing something involved.
Yeah, and whoever had Zack Ryder got some nice points in the FTW draft.
Yeah, speaking of the draft, my favorite part about the Ryback versus Kurt Hawkins match is Ryback didn't earn the 0.5 points for facing two people.
Good point.
I hope that's a trend. Sorry, David Joe.
But yeah, that was SmackDown. It was a very meh show. It was a live SmackDown, which really pumps me out. So they have a trend now. Doing a live SmackDown, you get Sergeant Slaughter. You get gimmick matches. Bad, placating to the 1980s crowd gimmick matches. Because of this entire Hacksaw Jim Duggan Sergeant Slaughter thing. It's a live SmackDown. Last time we saw either of them, live SmackDown, when they had all the legends come back.
It was better this week than it was the last time they did it. God help us all.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of both of them, so screw you, Joe.
With a pay-per-view on the horizon, the show did nothing for me.
SmackDown usually does nothing, so it's okay.
SmackDown's usually a better all-around wrestling show.
It does feel like we're getting oversaturated with the legends coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say meh. Meh, I say. Let's take the meh to Raw.
All right, Raw. Oh, my God.
Becky, look at her butt. It's just like so big. It looks like one of those. She looks like one of those rap guys' girlfriends.
If you guys know me off the show, I'm usually like one of the most positive people. And again, this show we've defended ourselves from trying to always find positives and not being super negative about everything like just about everyone else is. But after SmackDown, you would think that they would think, oh right, we got Money in the Bank coming up. Raw should really be pushing Money in the Bank, and it should be awesome so that people, will want to buy Money in the Bank. No, that's not what they did. Some of the tweets that came in. Let me just read some of these tweets. This is from the Sports 519. He said, "This love triangle is making Punk's character look really weak and vulnerable." When the anonymous Raw GM was announced that that we'd see Cole versus Lawler, Breaking Kayfabe on Twitter said, "Jesus, of all the WrestleMania rematches we get, this is the one they choose. Just let CM Punk and Bryan wrestle all night." Kevin for the win. He said, "It's not really being negative, it's being honest. Compared to Destination X last night, this just really seems poor." And I think that's how I felt. I think that's pretty much how everyone felt. They finally tuned into Destination X, and I thought maybe WWE would have a counter for that. And we got Raw.
I think you've been. I actually don't think that people, even on the internet, realised about TNA. It was. I'm not taking away from TNA. It was a brilliant show, but people were just sat there thinking, "What the hell are they playing at?" This is a go-home show. We had people who are the biggest enthusiasts of WWE, and they won't say a bad word about them, going, "Well, this is a bit crap." First time in ages.
One highlight, Bob Backlund. We got to see Bob Backlund back. We haven't seen him since, I want to say, the 90s, maybe early 2000s.
I hear he's getting a U.S.
2007.
title. I hear he's getting a U.S. title match next week.
He still
I'm
has
kidding.
that baby face, and he could move around the ring so well. He looked fantastic considering he is 62 years old.
He looked great.
He moved around the ring better than Heath Slater did, but outside of that. Some more tweets. LOL Wrestling said, "Who at USA looked at this and said, yeah, these guys need an extra hour?" Styles Clash 10, he said, "At least we know Vince Russo found employment." And yeah, after seeing what they did with the anonymous Raw GM, announcing that it was Hornswoggle, yeah, that.
But it's kind of like the who's Vince McMahon's son thing when Kennedy fucked up.
Yeah, they went to Hornswoggle.
They went to Hornswoggle. Apparently, if the storyline ends up flopping or burning out for some reason,
everything's Hornswoggle.
It goes, "That's Hornswoggle."
And what's so annoying about this was I was actually okay with them bringing back the anonymous Raw GM. I thought that was entertaining.
I was excited
funny.
about it until he announced the fucking Cole Lawler match. But
oh yeah, I'm sorry. Can I just make a very public announcement? By the way, if you're one of the 75% of people, I will hunt you and I will hunt you down. Just saying.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't. That can't be real.
No, of course it can't be real, but
it was like another conversation we had about Raw was that and this was on Twitter. You can vote as many times as you wanted to. You just hit refresh, and you would have another vote in. And people were doing that, voting no. Everyone was no, don't do that. Yet they still did it, but oh well. Yeah, I rarely ever turn off Raw or SmackDown or TNA. I force myself to watch it regardless of how bad it is. Last night I couldn't. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch the whole thing. So I did catch the last segment. When I turned it off last night, it was about 15 minutes ago. So I rewatched it this morning. The last segment was okay. I don't necessarily mind what they're doing with CM Punk versus AJ not versus AJ, but with AJ and Daniel Bryan. It's fine. It just seemed too drawn out. Felt like they were trying to force us to continue to watch it. Like they're seeing how awesome we thought it was, and then that's all they're going to give us. And it's like, no, guys, there's more that you can concentrate on.
They were way too slow in that opening segment. It was I love CM Punk and I'll back it, pretty much up in anything, but that opening segment was so slow. It was ridiculous. And then the finishing segment, it didn't redeem Raw though. Raw was terrible, let's be honest.
Yeah, and the live chat pretty much agrees with that. I'm not seeing a positive message at all in the live chat. So yeah, another interesting thing that I found was the Eve segment with Punk in the back. She basically dropped a pipe bomb herself, saying how, Punk might be champion, but he is overshadowed by just about everyone. Triple H, Kevin Nash, John Cena, and now he's even overshadowed by AJ, and how demasculating that must feel. So who knows what they're doing? That needed to be said. That's what we've been thinking, but it just seemed odd that it was coming from them as well. So hopefully, maybe that's leading to somewhere positive. Was there anything you guys want to say before we move on?
Well, like you, I also turned it off. And what frustrates me most about this is, it's like Joe said, whenever a storyline goes bad, they seem to pull Hornswoggle out, show it, and like, oh, well, that's Hornswoggle, laugh, and expect the crowd to laugh, and then forget about the fucking failure that was that storyline. And it's just, it makes me want to find somebody from WWE creative and just strangle them.
Yeah, I just want to say something about, I know Harrison said it already, but the commentators didn't do, man, Cole and Lawler working together, and they're not, I don't know what the plan on it is, because they turned Cole heel again last night, and it was just, he was talking all this crap, then he went back to his normal job, and then he started the heel mode again, and then he had the match, where essentially, he was the heel, and then straight after that, he just goes back as if nothing happens. It was just leave Michael Cole alone. Let him do his job. He is a good commentator.
Let him die.
He can do his job, but just let the heel mode die. And just very quickly, one thing on King. King, during the John Cena match, I've never heard of something such stupid. He said during the John Cena match, how on earth can John Cena pick up Big Show? We've seen this match, I don't know how many times. He's picked him up in every single match. I mean, what are they thinking? It's just, it's so irritating.
I agree with you, Lee. I mean, I've not been a fan of Michael Cole. He knows absolutely nothing about the wrestling business. He knows no wrestling holds, none of that stuff. But over his time in the WWE, he's become an expert at using his skills in journalism to tell a story in a match, to make you want to pay attention to the match and watch what the guys are doing in the match. He's gotten really damn good at his job in his own little way. And when you keep forcing him to go back and forth between, being jackass heel and being his normal self, you're damaging that. When I was watching that, I didn't know if they were what to do with Michael Cole, or if they were trying to make King look tolerable by making Cole look worse.
Why do you have to do anything with Cole in the first place? Just let him fucking...
Yeah.
That's my point. Just let Cole do his job.
Yeah.
He's developed his own little way of being a commentator. He's gotten to a point where he doesn't need to know anything about wrestling holds or something. He can tell you a story. He can get you to pay attention to the match. He can make you interested in the match. He doesn't have to know wrestling holds or anything. He's got his own little way of doing things.
And he can sell pay-per-views. If he just got rid of the crap he does with Lawler, that's fine. Just let him do his job, and he will sell. He will make money.
Right.
All right. Well, Raw sucked. So one final point, just to go back to the Hornswoggle talk. We're not going to comment on this, but I just wanted to read this from the live chat. Tony said, "Didn't Hornswoggle get bullied by the anonymous GM?" Yes,
that's what I thought too. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
He was also feuding with Bret Hart.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm going to cut you off. I don't want to talk about Raw anymore. It was awful. All right.
It was awful.
Time for Ask FTW. We actually have a lot of this, and unfortunately, we went really long on everything else, like Destination X, which was awesome. You can ask us questions by emailing questions@ftwpodcast.com, or you can send us a tweet at ftwpodcast. You can even use the hashtag the hashtag AskFTW, and you can also post on our Facebook wall or post on our YouTube. You guys know how to reach us. Continue doing that because we're getting loads of stuff.
You guys know how to reach us. Continue doing that.
First thing, and let's try to go quickly through these guys. Enter Attitude Era on YouTube. He said, "Do you think that Dolph Ziggler could be the next John Cena? Cena started getting booed and eventually won the crowd over while being a heel. Ziggler is starting to win the crowd over and is unbelievable talent." Joe? Lee?
I don't think he's necessarily the next John Cena. I think it's two very different characters as such. I think John Cena is more selling things wise, and the actual, he can make money by just talking or appearing on a show. Whereas Dolph Ziggler actually has not proper wrestling skills, but more depth to his wrestling, and he can raise character, and he can sell, but not as well as Cena. He might grow to do that, but I don't think he'll be the next Cena, to be brutal.
Joe?
Okay, now that I'm unmuted, here's the thing. Will Ziggler be the next John Cena? No. Why? Dolph Ziggler knows more than 5 moves. I think Ziggler will be a more well-rounded, entertaining wrestler like a CM Punk, who is versatile, has entertainment value in the wrestling business, not pretty boy, here's my 3 flashy moves. I'm sorry, 5 moves.
Rob, what do you think?
I think Joe's full of shit, but Ziggler's biggest problem, is that he changes his look every other week. His bigger problem, C, is the fact that he can't really do a promo or a segment by himself on the mic. He needs help with that. Ziggler relies on having to do in-ring work to push himself forward. Cena can push himself and push things forward, whether he's in a segment or in an actual match.
Rob, you're talking about Ziggles, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't know what you're talking about. He hasn't really changed his look in a year. I mean, he went to the short brown hair, and then he went back to the blonde, and then he's been blonde since.
Yes. Okay. Before this, before this current look, he's been. He went through a stage where he was changing his look, twice a week, different jacket, different hair, different personality.
That's harsh. Chris Jericho's come back and he's had jackets, he's had haircuts, he's grown his hair longer, he's got wrinkles.
And if we were talking about if we were talking about Chris Jericho, I'd probably be bitching about him too. My point is, Ziggler has to be in the ring to sell himself. He's got a very impressive moveset. He's really improved there. The other aspects of the business, he's crap at.
They haven't given him a run with anything else yet.
Yeah, I don't think I agree, Rob. But to answer the question specifically, will he be the next John Cena? No, because he's going after a different target audience. He's not trying to be... He's not trying to win over the kids, basically. He's not trying to be...
Hey, the pink shirt.
Well...
That's because it's a show-off.
I don't know. But still. But actually, Rob, you did bring up a point that Steven on Facebook posted. And this goes back to our debate on whether or not AJ was going to be the breakout star of 2012. He said, "Got to add my vote to AJ for breakout star of the year so far. After Raw's last segment, we saw a 5'3", 100-pound female get a reaction out of thousands of fans simultaneously without taking her top off or shaking her ass as she bends over, like most other divas do. That's not easy." How that pertains to Ziggler, he said, "She's doing an awesome job at being a sports entertainer. To get a crowd reaction and to sell a product, i.e. the WWE Championship match at Money in the Bank. And with all due respect to Ziggler, who is someone that we were saying could be the breakout star, he may sell everybody in the ring, but he's not selling a main event."
They haven't gone as far to push him to the to a full on pay-per-view main event though. I mean, they have, but they haven't. You know, he's still on his way up. But AJ, yeah, I giggity. She's just doing such an amazing job. What else can I say?
Yeah, and that goes again. That goes towards booking. I mean, the thing is that Dolph can be the breakout star. He's just not there yet. They haven't gave him the ring. But let's move on to another topic. Gary on Facebook, he was talking to us about the 1000th episode of Raw. He said, "Can you see The Rock declare his WWE title match?" Basically, him challenging for the title at WrestleMania on that 1000th episode of Raw. Lee?
At WrestleMania, it'd be tempting. WWE Champ versus The Rock, another main event for The Rock, I suppose, could be a good thing for business. It could also be a bad thing. If he does, I'll be quite happy. But then again, I'd want him to face CM Punk, to be honest, because I'm not sure who else that would there be to verse The Rock for the WWE title except John Cena. And if we get that rematch again, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Rob?
I could see it. The temptation is definitely there, but I think it would be a bad move for the WWE. The Rock Cena match at WrestleMania kind of didn't deliver on all of the hype. I don't see that the WWE needs The Rock. They've got other talent they could be pushing.
Joe?
Yeah, I don't want to see Rock announce that, because I don't need another 6 months or whatever of fucking build-up of The Rock coming in 3 times during the process going, "I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to do a shoddy match at WrestleMania.
Team bring it.
Team bring boots to asses. I'm John Laurinaitis."
Yeah, I see the opportunity there. It's a possibility. We know he wants to go for the title. We know he's going to be at the next WrestleMania. I hope that's not why he's at the 1000th episode of Raw. It's a possibility, but I hope not. All right, so, okay, Fabe on Facebook, he said, "Do you think TNA is attempting to gain more fan attention and use Aries' title win as a means to attract attention? Or are they finally giving Aries the main event title run because he deserves it? Or both?" Rob?
I'm going to say both. I mean, even though I don't see where Aries' title run is going to give TNA more fan attention. I mean, every fan that was a fan of Austin Aries is probably already a TNA fan now, because since he jumped over there. But he does deserve the main event title run. I mean, he's proved that the few times they've put him in the main event title. All in all, I think both probably factor into the equation somewhere along the line.
Lee?
Yeah, I'd probably say both. There's been TNA seem to be pushing, we've been listening to you, we know what you want thing, and I think they've been kind of looking at the little things and just seeing it, really.
Joe, your thoughts?
I think that saying that they're using Aries to attempt to gain more fan attention is a stupid statement, only for the fact that anything they should be doing should be attempting to get more fan attention.
Usually.
I mean, that's poor business if you're not, but I think Aries deserves the main event right now. And I can't wait to see how far they take him.
Yeah, obviously they're trying to get attention. I think this also comes at a coincidental time. ROH is pretty awful from what I hear. A lot of people are complaining that they aren't really doing anything new, and it's terrible. So, maybe, like, we know they're reaching out to indie feds like Chikara. Obviously, they reached out to ROH and got Kenny King. So they're definitely trying to pull some of that indie talent, and putting a guy over like Austin Aries definitely targets those fans, which is a great move. Real quick, need to go back to the idea, to the last topic. Rock tweeted, and let me read this tweet for you guys. He said, Raw's 1000th episode, the People's Champ returns. As promised, my goal, the WWE Championship, #relentless.
Fuck's sake.
Fuck, you relented a little while ago when you didn't show up past Raw after WrestleMania. Piss off, Rock.
You relented when Cena had to look out at the crowd and say, fuck's sake, I've been carrying this guy all match, and now I've got to let him beat me. # you're old, tired, and suck.
Way to go, Dwayne.
Okay. So, we take back what we said. Apparently, maybe Rock is going to call for the title. Maybe that will happen in WrestleMania. I don't know. I hope not. Anyways, Kim from the Impact Where the Big Boys Play Facebook group, she asked us, Austin Aries will be in the main event at Bound for Glory against the winner of the BFG series, yes or no? Joe, do you think Austin Aries will carry the title into October?
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping if that he does. I like the idea of longer title reigns for guys, only because you cheapen the title if you change it so many times over a period. So I hope he is.
Rob?
Yeah, just because with Samoa Joe currently in the lead, can you imagine a main event Austin Aries versus Samoa Joe for the title?
That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
wouldn't it? That would be an awesome match.
Yeah, but Pope's going to win.
Pope. I was actually pulling for Robbie E. But, yeah, that would be a fantastic match. But realistically, anyone they put against Austin Aries will be a great match. You know, unless Jeff Hardy is too high. But
or unless they put Robbie E in the match.
Yeah. I would like to see it. I would like to see him continue through Bound for Glory. You know, obviously the one match that we keep talking about is Storm versus Rude at Bound for Glory. We want to see that for the title. That Bound for Glory is obviously their biggest pay-per-view of the year. It makes sense to do it, but I don't know. I don't think it makes sense to take the title off Aries. But we'll see. I mean, it's still 2 months away, so I guess we'll find out. All right, Chris emailed us. He said, with Cena going on saying, quote, he's never competed in or won Money in the Bank, and how it was on his to-do list. Chris did some research. He said he found another accolade he has not done, and that was that has been the sole survivor in the Survivor Series pay-per-view. Do you think that they're going to start giving Cena, accolades like this? Like the Survivor Series pay-per-view, being the last guy out there, Money in the Bank. Do you think that's going to be the trend moving forward with Cena? Rob?
Yeah, I mean, Cena is market. He's money for the WWE. To improve the product, they have to start adding some accolades to his resume. So King of the Ring, Soul Survivor, some of the other stuff that he hasn't done yet. They're going to start trying to get him to rack up some accolades. Accolades, I mean.
Joe?
No, I don't. I think they're going to leave some stuff undiscovered by Cena. Other than that, the fans are already sick of him. Why? I think they're learning that he doesn't need to be in every single specific match of note. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they're still shoving him down our throats in the main event, but at least it's not like, hey, okay, Cena needs to be in the Jabberwocky on a pole match because he hasn't been in one of those. Yeah, Jabberwocky on a pole. I mean, then he can do the pepper on a pole. Then he can do the contract on a pole, the glove on a pole. I mean,
Bagwell's mom on a pole. All right.
Harrison's mom on a pole.
And let's not forget the pole on a pole match.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't think they should. Cena is already. I mean, he's Super Cena. He's already done what he needs to basically secure his spot in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't need everything, because next we're gonna go back and talk about him versus Taker, and I don't want to do that. By the way, we went really far and forgot to do Money in the Bank predictions. Do you guys want to still do that, or hold that off to the live show?
Let's burn through it really quick, just for fun.
Okay. Burning through Money in the Bank predictions. It's this Sunday. We're going to be doing a pay-per-view special at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Same place here at ftwlive.com. It'll be an hour-long show just to discuss specifically Money in the Bank. First match on the show, it's actually from the YouTube pre-show. Hunico and Camacho versus Kofi and Truth for the Tag Team Championship. Now, first off, why the hell is Hunico and Camacho getting a shot? Are they turning this into like some kind of sabotage storyline where Abraham Washington attaches himself to a tag team so that they earn a title shot and then they never get it? Like, how do they earn this match? Joe, do you know?
Yeah, people forget storylines for the tag team division and they just throw shit together. I think what they're trying to do is they're gonna do a title change at SummerSlam and throw it on the primetime players, but they need to do a tag team championship match because we haven't seen one in ages because Truth has been out, so we're getting Kofi and Truth. They'll probably go over on Hunico and Camacho.
Okay, so you're picking for them to retain. Rob,
Yep.
Who you got in this?
I'm going to go with Kofi and Truth. And to answer the question you asked, I think Joe's on the right track. But see, the problem is that when it comes to tag team storylines, WWE doesn't have actual people working this. They went out and hired a bunch of drunk monkeys to write tag team storylines. So that's how Hunico and Camacho get a tag team title shot. They evidently brought the monkeys more alcohol and bananas or something.
Yeah, I can't quite figure out why they would do this unless the primetime players, they've just finally realized that they're not ready for that kind of spot. And that's also a possibility. I mean, they are fairly new. But, yeah, in this match, Hunico Camacho, I don't see winning. I don't see any chance of them winning unless Truth is hurt more than they thought.
Right.
But it seems dumb. It seems that would be a dumb thing. I mean, if that was the plan, then Kofi should have been in one of the Money in the Bank matches. Just saying. So I'm also going to go with Kofi and Truth. The WWE Championship Money in the Bank, all former WWE champions. Big Show versus Kane versus Jericho versus Cena. Who you got, guys?
As much as I'd like to see Jericho win the Money in the Bank briefcase and give him something to do, before the end of the world, I think that John Cena is going to win it, and I'm going to go on a limb and say John Cena is going to be the first guy to cash in and not win.
Rob?
I am also going to pick Cena. I think this is the WWE's way to get Cena back into a title storyline, and they're going to run with it because Cena versus Punk actually turned out some quality matches.
Yeah, I'm really leaning towards Cena. I think that's what they're doing, or at least that's what they're trying to build towards. But I want to see Jericho win. We've talked many times how Jericho came back specifically to put over whoever, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Sheamus. He made stars out of those guys. And this is the one opportunity that I see that he can finally get, his his comeuppance. I mean, if he wins this, goes on tour with Fozzy, disappears for a few months, comes back, he's got instant heat. And that's whether or not he cashes in as a surprise when he returns or not. I mean, that to me is the better story than Cena winning and being put into the WWE title race again. All right, the next Money in the Bank match: Sandow versus Tyson Kidd versus Santino versus Christian versus Tensai versus Cody versus Ziggles versus Sin Cara. Rob, who you got in this match?
Fuck it. I'm going to go out on the line and say Christian wins this match.
That's an interesting pick, Rob. I'm sorry that it's the wrong one. But, no, see, I'm stuck between Tensai, Cody Rhodes, and Dolph Ziggles.
I don't think Ziggles is going to win it. Ziggles is only good in the ring. He can't do a promo or a segment for shit.
You don't have to do a promo to cash in Money in the Bank.
True, but still. You have to do promos and segments after you actually have the damn title.
Fuck it, I'm going with Cody.
All right.
Rhodes. That's my pick. Garvin, where are you at on this one?
Well, there's so many awesome names in this. I mean, guys that we want to see turn the corner, like a Cody, Ziggler, Santino, Rhodes. Those are all guys that you would like to see pushed into that kind of spot, especially Santino, into some kind of important, serious storyline. Then you also have guys that they've built up, WWE specifically, like Tensai, like Sin Cara. They've made them both out to be, these unstoppable wrestlers. Well, sort of, kind of, but still, you got to think that maybe WWE is thinking that these two they might push forward, but neither one deserves it really. Plus Sandow, I'd love to see him win. I just think it's too quick. My vote is Tyson Kidd. I think
interesting vote.
Tyson Kidd is a guy I have really liked for a long time. I mean, he's been stuck on Superstars. He hasn't really been given that big of an opportunity, but they have given him some significant spotlight in this Money in the Bank build-up. So I think he looks the best to me. It would give them another opportunity to push someone up that's a surprise, like last year's Daniel Bryan. I mean, that surprised everyone that he won. So I think this is another opportunity. That's who I want to see.
Tyson Kidd's a great pick. I've liked him. I mean, I remember the finisher he started out with in WWE was where he'd stand outside the ring, leap onto the top rope, in the middle of the rope, not like at a turnbuckle, and then just flip himself sideways and just lay out an elbow on a guy. It was pimp. The guy's really talented, although I don't care for his current submission finisher. The guy is awesome, and he would be the breakout surprise for me. But I'm still going with Cody because I think that's more of a lock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with. Let's go next to the World Heavyweight Championship match: Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio. Finally, ADR gets the title match that they've kind of been teasing the last couple months, but never really gave him. Do you guys see any chance for ADR to win?
No. He's been so inconsistent lately. As far, they need him for a moment and he just flops it. I can't see them putting the title on him.
Rob?
I completely agree. I'm going with Sheamus. Alberto Del Rio has just been god-awful recently.
I put Rodriguez over Del Rio.
Yeah, I don't see them doing it. I mean, what a waste ADR has become.
Yeah, he had so much potential to break out of the JBL gimmick, and while he can be entertaining on the mic, I do like him on the mic, I'm not going to lie. And I don't mind him in the ring, but the times where they've needed to call on him, to do something big. We get a lackluster moment or a botch or, just something that just doesn't seem to jive.
Well, and one of the big problems, one of the things that's always bothered me about Alberto Del Rio is I think it's half his fault and half the WWE's fault. I mean, when you put him on the mic and he goes on to backstory about how, he was willing to pay for the Mexican wrestling team to go to the Olympics. And it's like, okay, this is really good. You're forgetting you're supposed to be a heel. And it's like that light clicks. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be a bad guy. And then he tries to connect it into some lame insult. And it's like, yeah, see, you're not ready to be a champion yet.
Well, yeah, I don't even know what to think about it. But, yeah, Sheamus all the way. I don't see them taking the title off of him. WWE Championship match, the main event of the IWC. Punk versus Bryan. AJ is the special guest referee. This is the match that we all want to see. Should be nothing but quality, and most likely will have everyone's attention, both in the crowd and on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. Should note that Punk has held the title since November's Survivor Series, which is a long time. Is this Daniel Bryan's time to be the top guy in WWE? Joe?
I'm hoping so. I'm actually going to put my money on Daniel Bryan. Overcoming an AJ incident. I don't think she's going to pull for him. I think she's going to try and screw him over, and he's gonna pull it out.
Rob, what about you?
I'm gonna go with CM Punk. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, I'm from Chicago.
Fuck you, Joe.
I mock you with love. What's up, G-Fresh? Come on.
I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan.
Because you two look so much alike?
Yeah, Team Beard all the way. He's got a better beard than CM Punk, obviously. But I think what they did with the Eve segment on Raw, it almost felt like that they were leading to somewhere. I wouldn't say a heel turn like the rest of the IWC wants to see. But I would say that it definitely should put Punk in a serious mood if he lost the title. If he loses the title because of AJ, that's a great story to me. And I think that's a better story than him defeating Bryan and then Bryan not getting the title. I don't know. It just seems...
So let me ask you this, Garvin. Would you be happy if it was an 18-second match?
No.
Like, AJ goes to kiss Punk, and Punk's like, what the fuck? And he shoves her off, and Daniel Bryan just rolls him up.
You mean kind of like what happened at WrestleMania?
Exactly.
If they did the opposite, that would be poetic, but I wouldn't like it.
Okay. I was just curious.
But yeah, if I was booking this match, I would book for Daniel Bryan to win because of AJ. Not necessarily saying that AJ and Bryan are in cahoots, but just because of a distraction of some sort, or she, is whatever.
Okay.
And that's it. That's Money in the Bank as it's booked right now. SmackDown obviously was taped after Raw. We're not going to talk about spoilers here. We're going to watch it on Friday with everyone else. But don't quote me on this. I don't think any other match was booked. So there's some questions in here of what we might see. Will they give Layla some TV time with the Divas Championship? Will we see Layla versus Beth? Ryback and Brodus Clay are obviously going to take part in the show because they usually do in some kind of squash. Maybe Ryback versus Hawkins and Rex. That could make sense. Brodus versus Tunga. They never really finished that storyline. So, but other than that, I can't think of any other matches that they might consider booking.
No, I think you've pretty much nailed it.
Although, with such a short card, you know what this does open up to, though?
Layla opening herself up and saying, I need a challenger, and have Karma come out? Or Michelle McCool?
Oh, God. I wasn't even thinking of that. And that's a fantastic idea. But no.
Yes, Michelle McTaker back in the ring. Flawless.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone cashed in.
Best move she made was to retire.
So
Could be
I don't
worse.
know if
She
it's
could be
going to
Layla.
be for the WWE Championship or if it's going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship. But I think someone is going to cash in, and that's why they kept the card so short.
Cena cashes in for the Women's Championship so he can get that accolade? No, didn't think so.
I am looking at the live chat. It seems like everyone is really hyped up for the SmackDown, the World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank match. Obviously, a lot of big names there, or good names that, they're all great workers and Tensai. Then the Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk match. That seems to be what everyone is looking forward to. So that's Money in the Bank. We're going to be doing a pay-per-view special, but I need to make a correction. I said it was going to be live this Saturday. It actually isn't going to be live. We're going to have some technical difficulties this weekend, so instead, it's going to be available on YouTube and on our site through RSS or iTunes like it normally is. So we'll be posting some announcements on Twitter and Facebook on where you can get that. So look for that sometime Saturday afternoon, or at least before the pay-per-view for sure. Real quick, let's jump into the news. There was something that broke today that I want to get into real briefly, and that is DirecTV. They decided to drop a bunch of channels from their lineup, and one of those channels is Spike TV. And that's a huge, huge deal because DirecTV is one of the biggest carriers in the nation. If they don't work out this deal with Viacom, Spike TV is going to see even lower ratings than what they're getting now, which is incredibly unfortunate. So anyone who has DirecTV, you need to contact them and make sure that they work out that deal, because that would be a huge, unfortunate loss.
Yeah, that would suck. It's bad enough that dish users don't even have fucking Fox Sports, but then you get DirecTV dropping a whole bunch of Viacom shit. They're losing Comedy Central, they're losing Spike. Jeez, I mean, talk about just kicking DirecTV in the dick.
Yeah, but I will say this: this is a good time for TNA to drop Spike and move forward with some other better network.
One would hope, but God only knows how long contracts were.
Let's move forward. Win, fail.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here is your win
You do any job,
and fail
is to fucking get paid!
of the week.
Joe, your wins of the week.
My win of the week comes from Raw, surprisingly enough. It was the recreation of the UFC Silva Sonnen spinning back fist botch by Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. CM Punk went for a spinning back fist and faltered, dropping to his knee, and Bryan took advantage, throwing a knee just right toward Punk's head, just like in the Silva Sonnen match. And nice bump there, guys. Appreciate it.
Rob?
My win of the week comes from Destination X. I think Austin Aries winning the world title was just amazing. It's really nice to see TNA do what we've been telling them to do for months now. So it was really cool.
I'm going to echo what's being discussed right now in the live chat, and that is Destination X. It was an awesome pay-per-view. Like I said before, it's the trifecta: Slammiversary, Sacrifice, and Destination X. All awesome pay-per-views. But really, we need to give TNA more credit. They have done stunning work for the last 6-8 months. Outside of, Claire and AJ and Dixie, that stupid crap, and
Outside of
Hogan's
storylines.
daughter, and
Outside of storyline.
yeah. You get rid of those things, and it's awesome. So, all right. Also from the live chat, Bob Backlund's shoot drills before his match, those were pretty sweet. Again, he was 62, and he could still move like that. Tony from the live chat said Eve's pipe bomb on CM Punk was his win of the week. Let's go to our fails of the week. Joe.
Hornswoggle is the unanimous Raw GM. Epic fail. Seriously, just go to hell. Go to hell, WWE. Fuck you.
Rob?
Same thing Joe said. Hornswoggle is the anonymous GM. Whoever's idea that was should be tarred, feathered, and I don't know, lit on fire maybe.
My fail of the week is pretty much the same fail as the live chat. WWE, all of it. Another horrible week for WWE. So many fails. Little positive to take from anything they're doing. Another fail from the live chat. The Kali and Layla versus Cesaro and Oksana match. Yeah, it was surprising Cesaro lost on SmackDown. I was not expecting that. Steven from the live chat. His fail is Bob Backlund's trunks. Yeah, I don't know. I thought they looked okay. And everything else the live chat is saying is about WWE Raw specifically. And I completely agree. I think we all can completely agree. And that's it. That was your wins and fails. Joe, question of the week. You want to run through this?
Sure thing. Last week's question of the week was, now that the Doink Cherry has been popped, who do you want to see as the next legend Heath Slater goes up against? Kyle says clearly Gilbert. Robert says Ken Shamrock. Zahir says Steve Blackman. All three great picks.
Steve Blackman would be awesome. The man with no personality.
Well, since they say that the guy playing Doink was actually the guy who's Brooklyn Brawler, I want to see Brooklyn Brawler. But the question of the week for this week, since we seem to think that Lawler is just getting worse, not to harp on him again, but who would you put next to him as color commentator and why? I think it's a very interesting question because there's a lot of guys that are possibly under Legends contracts. There are other commentators. I mean, who do you really want to see next to Cole? Yes, next to Cole. Let me clarify. We're removing Lawler from the equation. We're putting somebody next to Cole as a color commentator. Who do you want to see? Favorite comment from my favorite comment wins T-shirt.
All right, awesome. Another T-shirt giveaway. Just to let you guys know, when you're commenting, post it on our Facebook page. We're going to post the question. Just respond there. You can also reach us on Twitter. TV Tracks, they've been posting some more of our videos. They did that last week, or the last time we gave away a T-shirt. It got like over 300 comments. So lots of people answering these questions, lots of comments to sift through. So if you want a T-shirt, you're in for a fight. And that's the show. Normally we'd hand it over to Lee to plug WrestlingNewsSource.com. That's where you can find him. He's also on Twitter at WNSource. Lee had some technical difficulties and obviously is no longer with us, hasn't been with us for most of the show.
Even when Lee was speaking, he really wasn't with us, was he?
Yeah,
he's kind of out of it.
He talks so strangely, and I can't always understand him.
It's the bad teeth. Sorry, Lee. Had to go there. You weren't around to defend yourself.
So, as you can tell, we are just a group of friends that do this in our spare time. We don't charge for it, like some people do, but we really work hard. So what we're asking you to do to support us, to help us, rate us in iTunes, rate us on Stitcher, let your friends know. Bring them into the live chat. We continue to bring more and more people into the live chat every week. We want to see more. We love the conversations that you guys are having with us pretty much everywhere. Not just in the live chat, but also on Facebook, Twitter. You can find us at facebook.com/FTWpodcast, twitter.com at FTWpodcast, youtube.com/theftwpodcast. As always, you can find all that information at theftwpodcast.com. Yeah, and that's about it. Thanks for everyone in the live chat. Again, we record every FTW podcast episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 3 a.m. GMT time in the UK, whatever that stands for. I can't think of it.
Greenwich Mean Time.
Yes, that. At FTWLive.com.
That.
And that's it.
Harrison's a cock. And just saying Greenwich Mean Time makes me think of the Mean Street Posse.
Big ass.
The only one we can remember.
This episode of the FTW Podcast has been brought to you by FTWLive.com. We record every episode of our show in front of a live studio audience. Check out FTWLive.com to see how you can get involved in this discussion, as well as all